Hi everyone. In this video I am going to explain different types of layouts that we can use in AWT. We have 5 different types of layouts supported by 5 different classes. Flow layout, border layout, grid bag layout as well as card layout. And in this video I am going to explain the flow layout, border layout as well as grid layout. The remaining 2 layouts I am going to explain them in a part 2 video. So let's start with the flow layout. So flow layout is the default layout for the applet. So if we are applying flow layout for the applet, all components in the applets are arranged from left to right as well as from top to bottom. And if we dynamically increase the size of an applet, the components are dynamically arranged within the applet body. And this flow layout also maintains the 5 pixels default gap between all these components. So if we look into this flow layout class, it actually contains 3 varieties of constructors. The first constructor is without any arguments. It layouts all your components with the default 5 pixels gap. And the second type of constructor is with single argument, and that single argument represents the alignment. And we have different types of alignments: flow layout dot left, flow layout dot right, flow layout dot center, to arrange all your components in the different directions of the different directions in the applet body. And the third one is with 2 more arguments, h gap as well as vr gap. H gap means horizontal gap and vr gap means vertical gap. So you can have your own gap values for horizontal arrangement as well as for the vertical arrangement. So let's try to understand this flow layout with the help of an example. So this is an example program to explain how the flow layout can be applied in an applet. So I have imported all the necessary packages and I have created a class called flow layout, and it extends the class called an applet. So within this, what I am going to do is I am going to create multiple number of buttons. So I have created a button array. And within the constructor of the flow layout demo, we have created an instance for flow layout, and the layout for this applet is fixed with the help of set layout method, and the layout has been fixed to the flow layout. And we have created 6 buttons, and all these 6 buttons are given with some labels as well as, and all these buttons are added to the applet body. So let's try to execute this program in the command prompt. So actually this class name is flow layout demo. So I am going to execute this program. I am going to compile this program first. So java c space flow layout demo dot java, and this is the HTML file that I have created for this applet, and I am going to use this HTML file, and I am going to execute this applet using applet viewer dot HTML. So this is the output of this program. So you can see this we have created 6 buttons, and the buttons arrangement is going to be changed dynamically from left to right whenever we try to change the body of the applet. So like this we can apply flow layout to the applets. So the next type of layout is border layout. So this border layout is the default layout for the frame. So we can have different alignments. Like north, south, east, west as well as center. All these 5 directions are the 5 different constants, and you have to invoke them with the help of this class name, like border layout dot north, border layout dot south. Like this we have to invoke all these 5 constants, integer constants. So this is the way of using the border layout. So first you have to create a panel, and then you can set its layout to the border layout. And then when you are trying to add a new component to the panel, there itself you can mention the border layout like this, border layout dot north. Let me explain this border layout in detail with the help of an example. So this is the example I have created to explain the border layout. So here you can see that I have created a program called border layout demo, and it extends the frame now, because the border layout is the default layout for the frames. So I am trying to make this class to extend the frame class. So inside this program, I have created one constructor, and within this constructor what I am going to do is I am going to create 5 buttons. Button 1 is going to be placed in the north, and button 2 is at south, and button 3 is at east, button 4 at west, and button 5 at the center. And all these 5 buttons has been arranged with the help of border layout only, and the visibility has been set to true. So within the main method I am simply calling this constructor. Calling the constructor will make all these things to be executed. So let me execute this program. The class name is border layout demo. I am going to execute in the command prompt. So java c space border layout dot java. Because it is a frame that contains main method, we can directly execute without the help of applet viewer. So java space border layout demo. So this is the output of this border layout. So you can see this totally this frame window contains 5 buttons, and all these 5 buttons has been arranged in all the directions. So this is the this represents the effectiveness of the border layout. And the next type of the layout is called grid layout. As the name indicates, whenever I am going to apply this grid layout to the frame or an applet, it divides the container body into the number of cells. And how many number of cells we need to mention it. So whenever we are applying this grid layout, there itself we have to mention into how many grids that you are going to divide your container body. For example, if you take this container, this container has been divided into 3 rows and 4 columns, where each and every cell is capable of holding one component. And the default space between 2 components is always 0 pixels, but it is not fixed. We can change it explicitly. So this grid layout, you can apply this grid layout with the help of grid layout class. And these are the list of constructors that you can have inside the grid layout class. So you have to mention the number of rows and number of columns. Along with the number of rows and number of columns, you can also mention the horizontal gap and vertical gap between the components. And these are the 3 different types of constructors, and we have different types of methods also. Get columns, get horizontal gap, get rows, get vertical gaps, add layout component, and these are the different methods and different constructors of the grid layout. So let me explain this grid layout, how this grid layout is going to be worked with an example. So this is the sample example that I have created. The class name is grid layout demo. It extends the frame, and everything starts from the main method. Inside the main method, I am simply going to create an object for this class that immediately calls this constructor, and inside the constructor what I am going to do is I am adding number of components. And when I am simply mentioning this grid layout is mentioned with 5 rows and 2 columns. And the grid layout component width and height is 20 pixels wide and 50 pixels. So this layout has been applied to the panel, and to this panel we have added so many components. If you see this, we have added a label, and to this label corresponding component is the text field, and we have added one more label, roll number, and its corresponding component is text field again. And one more label, class, and one more text field, and one more label, total marks and text field. And at the last we have added 2 buttons called submit and cancel, and all these components are added to the panel object called P, and in turn this panel object P is added to the frame, and the visibility of the frame has been set to true. So let me execute this program. Java C space grid layout demo dot java. So after successful compilation, we can start executing it. Java space grid layout demo. So this is the actual output of the container after applying grid layout. So you can see that totally 4 labels we have, and totally 4 text fields, and additionally we have added two buttons called submit and cancel. And you can see this entire container body has been divided into 5 rows and 2 columns. So this is about grid layout. So the next two layouts, grid back layout as well as card layout, will be explained in the next video. Thank you for watching.